Hitting record now. All right, so here we are. Sorry, apologies, Kallan. I just needed to step out of the Airbnb that I was at, and I'm just at a local deli place. Is my audio okay?
Yeah, everything sounds good, man. You
Awesome.
just getting some work done or lunch or what?
Yeah, basically all of the above, just getting some work done, lunch, that kind of thing. But we had such a really good conversation last night, especially with the focus on getting the events going and whatnot. And
Hmm.
honestly, I was curious about the CRM that you were talking about because I mean CRMs are a dime a dozen. And for those of you who are watching who have never heard the term CRM, why don't you give us a definition, Kellen?
CRM is customer resource management. Basically, the focus. I mean, most people are familiar with like these big monstrous CRMs where companies put all their customer information in it, and it houses like all their transactions and stuff like that. I mean, I guess it's one way of looking at them that most people are familiar with, but they're essentially a system to help you keep organized of contact and what you need to do when you're contacting customers. I mean, I I like to really think of them more as customer relationship management,
Right.
um, because it gives you a way to be able to reference your customers, know what you talked about the last time you spoke, just really track kind of where you're at with things. So um, they're having a birthday or something like that. You kind of note you want to wish them a happy birthday or whatever.
Right.
There's a lot of uses, but um, in general, those are just some of the things people would use a CRM for.
Yeah,
Um,
when I used to work for a company called Solution Reach that used to be called Smile Reminder, and I don't know why they changed their name. Well, I do. I just think it's kind of a ridiculous reason because they had the perfect name, right? I mean, Smile Reminder. That you don't need to know anything more about that. It's a service for dentists. That's basically a CRM that, hey,
oh,
happy
okay.
birthday, Smile Reminder, come like I mean, I mean that's the greatest thing about brilliant ideas is that they're so simple, right? But I started working for Solution Reach when Smile Reminder got so big that they were like, let's expand. And that, I don't know, I came up in the internet marketing world learning that the riches are in the niches. And then I go and work for a company that was just like, let's reverse that immediately. And I'm like, wait, you found the secret sauce and then you were like, bury it. So I don't know. Like as soon as
They
they
just
went,
took it out behind the woodshed and shot it. I
yeah,
mean,
no, that's I mean, like they went full hog. They like their whole building and stuff had all their like smile reminder on it and stuff like that. And they went full hog and replaced all of their stuff. It's Solution Reach now. And it's like, okay, maybe they were going much bigger plan. I don't know. But at the point that I started working at Solution Reach, was when they went from their niche to everything and it all went sideways. Like internally, the company was like super tight and strong, smile reminder and Solution Reach was absolute chaos because that's what they gave to themselves
I mean, it
by
makes sense.
yeah,
You just
yeah.
kind
I
of
mean,
reach everywhere at once. That's what happens.
yeah, so I think what happened is that they created the problem that most people start with when looking at a CRM is that they said, okay, we have everything organized and perfect exactly the way we want it. Now let's screw it up. Like that's pretty much so when someone starts with a CRM, they're just like, well, holy crap, you can do so much. Okay, so the goal is to reverse what Solution Reach did. Is they're like, we're gonna do doctors and dentists and lawyers and car repair and blah blah blah. And it's like, no, no, you are Smile Reminder. You are the dentist people. That's what you know. You don't know how to remind people to go in and get an oil change. Even though you think you do, you don't because you just know how to remind people to brush their teeth and come into the dent. Like you are super good at that. Every single one of the dentists are phenomenally happy, but the eye doctor still can't figure out why his CRM just doesn't work the way that they promised because everything is set to, well, this is the model that works. And then they slam this thing in. And I'm watching this more from a procedural angle because
Hmm.
I mean I can see the whole thing. I have done so many of these different types of projects. it's one of the things why I wanted to focus on gig economics, because every time I go into a corporate space, all I do is see all the holes and all the problems and stuff like that. And I want to just do my
And
job.
of course, nobody wants to solve them
Yeah, exactly.
because that's not what you're paid for.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm sitting there, I'm just trying to do my job, but I'm like, I know if this and here, it just would be amazing. But I'm just the guy that does this job over here, and it's frustrating to go through, um, and it is foolish to try and be like, hey, you have zero concept of what I can actually do. Let me point out flaws in your system that only I see, and that's also problematic. So again, in the context of this, I want to give value to the video and say, okay, my advice, if you want to look at a CRM and all the different options and all the bells and whistles, think of a niche or a niche, however you want to pronounce it. Think of that niche that you want to be in or could see yourself in, because these days, with all of the data that we have, it's kind of easy to see yourself in a business model, much easier than you could 15, 20 years ago, or at least that's what I've seen. What do you think, Kallan?
Yeah, I mean, I think the information about trying to stay laser focused is more prevalent in people are learning that it actually works to do that. You have to master one thing before you can even get where, and that you have to process to the next thing, right? You can't just take this and cookie cutter it over here. There's customization that happens, and well, you know me, I'm a pretty much a Facebook ads guy. Do a lot of other things too, but Facebook ads and Facebook marketing is really where my sweet spot is, right?
Right.
Which is one of the reasons that I was immediately attracted to this specific CRM, because we're looking at doing summits, and we had already figured that with our Facebook group and things like that, that Facebook marketing is really where we're going to get the bulk of the draw for the people, because we're already reaching them in that location. I'm getting dinged again. But so I started looking at this because it integrates into Facebook, something that you don't normally see out of a CRM system. So it's
Now,
really kind of an
and
extraordinary thing.
sorry for interrupting, but I'd like to set up a couple of things. First of all, I mean, I had mentioned in the beginning, CRMs are a dime a dozen. I mean, there are some pretty really good ones that you would know if you heard the names, kinds of things. But you're talking about something that's a little bit more customized, because you've run the gambit of different CRMs, and at least for us in performing summits and things like that, the CRM that you're looking at fits all of what we need and then some. Would you be willing to share your screen and what some of those things look like?
Yep. Hey, give me just a second. And this system I've actually got, I'm actually a version behind because they're constantly pushing updates. So they've got new Facebook changes, some things broke that they immediately got on fixing, and I haven't fixed them on this computer yet in the studio. I just do most of my stuff from a remote system.
Cool. Yeah.
Can you see my Facebook?
Yeah, so we can see your face. So this is your Facebook, and this CRM can plug into Facebook and help in the Facebook marketing. That's one of the biggest draws that we've had, because we've found gig economics is our major platform that we want to produce the events on, right?
Yep. So there's kind of a couple parts, right? Especially with Facebook marketing, it's a pretty labor intensive thing, right? You're writing posts, giving value, you've got to like stuff and share stuff, and you're adding friends and cover photos and all of that kind of stuff. I mean, we've all pretty much heard the process. I mean, if you haven't, I mean, we can probably hook you guys up with a little bit of training on how to do some of the organic marketing.
Nice. Yeah.
But you're probably not going to want the training after you see what this thing does. Just because it takes the manual process of what I would teach you in the training, and it automates most of it.
So it's basically like knowing you have the encyclopedias at home, but you're not really going to open them up.
Right. Why am I going to reach for the encyclopedia when I can Google a definition,
exactly.
get all the answers?
All the training's right there, and there it will stay.
So here it is. We've got my Facebook. So let's say, let's use Bill. seeing as how Bill's at the
There
top
you
of my
go.
news feed at the moment.
We all love
Um,
Bill.
so if we click into Bill's profile, let's say me and Bill were having a conversation and he was interested in some of my services. Uh, I mean, do you notice anything immediately different about Bill's profile?
Yeah, a couple of things. Like there's a glowing button that says lead gen. That's kind of attractive.
Uh-huh. That's because with one click, granted we're a version behind, but
Right.
it's already working.
Ah, look at
You
that.
click lead gen and it's gonna come through and it's gonna fill out all of this stuff. And we know Bill is with Gig Economics.
There we go. Yeah.
So we're gonna do that if we have, phone number and email, if I know the website, his address, right? We're gonna determine where did we find him. We found him on this case on Facebook. We could also put in a LinkedIn address or a Twitter address for the random people that are still using Twitter.
Kallan, you're gonna love this. Like so, like yes, I know. I've already said the whole thing of like oh I can't do the corporate thing. Just because I can't doesn't mean I'm not willing to, right? So
Yep.
in these days of COVID, you do what you got to do. Gig economics fits all
Oh,
things,
for sure.
including regular 9 to 5. But the only reason why I'm interrupting you is just because, like, like as I'm looking for work and things like that, and I'm looking at like some really high paying jobs. I mean, really high paying jobs. And Kellen, guess what? Most of the work is doing the manual entry of this, what you're talking about right now. So I'm like, oh, I get it. So when someone is on a webinar and they buy a product like this, and they're thinking, and they're watching this, they're like, ah, I'm going to get my employees to do that. And now when I'm watching the same demonstration, I'm like, holy crap, I'm watching a webinar of what my job's going to be in the next 3 weeks.
That's hilarious.
Which is fine by me because I mean there are like here's the other side of this is what I'm also trying to say. If there are other people in gig economics or anybody who's watching this, you could do a gig, but what I've also been finding, and in it, I'm almost a little, just a little ashamed of the fact that um, holy crap, I spent so much time building, working over the last 10 years, SEO, all this other kind of stuff that I could just stop trying to be an entrepreneur and just get a $50,000 a year job just doing this work. But that's how effective these tools are. That's what I'm really trying to bring it
Oh,
back to. Even if
yeah,
you're an
yeah, for sure.
employee, this is going to be your job, whether you like it or not. So if you're thinking like, wow, that's really time consuming. Do I really want to build a business like that? If you step outside and go get a job, guess what? This is going to be your job. So you might as well get used to doing this. That's
The,
what I'm really
the,
trying
and
to do.
the manual entry of this stuff, right? So what a lot of people are doing when they do Facebook marketing, they tend to use spreadsheets, or they'll friend people and they just kind of dig back through their conversations in the conversation bar. As you
Right.
can see over here, the new conversation bar is a little bit weird.
Mhm.
Um, I've moved early because, might as well adjust to things before you're forced to.
Yeah.
But eventually we're all going to be forced to go into this like mobile first desktop layout, or on,
Oh yeah.
um,
Yep.
so so I just jumped in early, and as you can see, this is fully compliant with Facebook. The interface, I guess you'd call 2.0.
Yeah.
Um,
That's smart.
so you put in all this information on Bill, which was mostly done for me, but I might have a couple tidbits that picked up here and there. Now it's kind of commonplace that you would go and you'd say, okay, I know where his website is. You could go to the website, probably get a phone number, an email address, put in the website address, physical business address, if that's important for what we do. For me, it's not, because we're online. So I don't really care what his address is. Most of our products are going to be physically delivered anyway.
Right.
I'm sorry, not going to be
Well, yeah,
physically
they're not going
delivered
to be
anyway.
physically. Yeah. Right.
But then, lead strength, right? This is important. So many people drop the follow-up ball, right? They contact somebody and you get people, they cold message, you'll be like, hey, you want to buy my stuff? And they're like, dude, no, go away. And it's like, okay, that's a lead strength of 1. I'll call
Yeah.
you back. But a lot of times they don't touch base ever again, but they approached the relationship in a way that doesn't allow them to do that, because they came in pitch first.
Yeah. Well,
In really, this game is about nurturing relationships, right?
yeah.
Customer
And yeah.
relationship management, not resource management. Customers
Yeah.
aren't resources; they're relationships.
Yeah. And I
So,
really like the fact that you're focusing on this because I'm I'm from a time in marketing where these discussions just never came up. They just didn't. And I can proudly say I have never ever had a Facebook account ever banned, and I dare say I have done, as many people have said, very aggressive marketing. But at the same time, we're talking about like 10 years ago. But like my form of marketing is like nothing compared to the form of aggressive marketing in 2020. Like so
Yeah, it's
so
like
when I've been told, wow, that was some really aggressive Facebook marketing, I'm like, nah, I don't like, I'm thinking about a conversation like 7 years ago, and now it's like, okay, well, yeah, if everything is fully compliant, if someone's like, yes, but if you think about it, that's why you keep seeing everything everywhere, every website. We use cookies, we use cookies, we use cookies, because they're
right.
trying to educate everybody on something that's already been happening for the last 20 years, but no one really noticed. And there was a long time where people would be like, oh no, the government has my information and all this other kind of stuff. And it's just like, no, 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 no. We're just trying to be better entrepreneurs. We just want to be a really, really good butler. We don't want to tie you up and put you in our basement. We just want to sell you stuff really, really effectively. So
Well,
that's the
and
point. It
stuff you
just took
need,
10 years. It
right?
just took 10 years to explain that, hey, you're going to come onto a website, and the website's going to collect data from your computer, whether you like it or not. But you like it. Everybody likes it. But when you find out about it, you kind of freak out, and then you get over it. And we had to let people just get over it for like 10 years. But now everybody's like, yes, here's our data. Shut up. No, 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 no. I want the data given. But that's the reason why everybody and their dog, every time you land on a website, it's like, we use cookies, because I remember conversations in webinars that I had to pay for that said, listen, seriously, compliance is an issue. You have to say you use cookies. You have to use this. You have to use that. I mean, this was pounded into my ear as an entrepreneur for like 7 years. And now I'm really seeing it for what it is of like, okay, but if you do make sure and you do like everything is compliant, then you can actually use tools like a CRM, a, a customer relationship management tool, not a customer resource management. Like, I mean, you change the terms
Yes.
and you understand the intent behind it as a marketer, then all of a sudden you have the doors opened to you, because we had a 10-year battle of saying, please, can we just take your data, which you already want us to do? Now they have to be like, cookies, cookies, cookies. When we teach you this thing, because people still see cookies as like a cookie. But what it really is we're tracking your information. This is the nicest way we can do it. That's it, right?
Well, and it's about being transparent, right?
Exactly.
Marketing now, marketing used to be about sell, sell, sell to everyone, selling
Yeah.
ice to the Eskimo.
Right.
You know, it was, we don't care if you need it or not, you need to buy our stuff. And, really trickery marketing, right?
Yeah.
It's, we're going to show you this thing. Ha, gotcha. You bought it. And it's not about that anymore. Marketing is about finding people who need a product or service because they have a problem that their product or service can solve, and building a relationship in a way that allows them to solve that problem without needing to be tricked into the purchase, with buying something that they
Yep.
know what they're getting and they want it.
And
Um,
that's a lot of things that I ran into as I was teaching stuff like this in the past. But then it was, well, now you're stealing data. No, not stealing data. Well, now that we have more rules and laws that explain that, no, we're not stealing data. We're actually doing research. Again, it's the transparency. You have to show what you're doing and why you're doing it for the, and all the reasons. Then it's like, well, yeah, of course, please come in and sift through my data so that you can serve me better. If it's in the service of helping, then yeah. But if you're just going through data to see what you can get, let me see what, let's see how I can get something from this person, and you have absolutely no desire to actually help them, yeah, then you're just collecting data from people that you're going to, like, I guess, eventually steal from. So I got a lot of pushback of like, let's not just charge in and be like, buy things. How about we do some research? How about we find out about people? Like, I don't know, their name, phone number, address, things like that. And all of a sudden it was like, no, we can't do that. It's like, but why is this like, this is so backwards of constantly smash, 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 sell, sell, sell. Why don't we have just a little bit of finesse here, and CRMs are the finesse to buy, sell, sell, sell.
I agree with that. And sorry, while you were doing that, I'm just going to go through and fill in a couple of the more advanced
Yeah.
features here real
Yeah.
quick, which, as you can see, I can pay attention to what you're saying and use these advanced features. So it's super simple.
So yeah, if anybody is looking at this like, yeah, I could do this as a job, I'm pretty sure anybody looking at this has probably done something like this as a job. So hey, guess what? If you're doing it already as a job and thinking about it as a business, it's the same thing. Ta-da.
And real quick before I get to the couple of things that I just did here, lead strength indicator. So as we build that relationship and we start moving our prospects through the journey of becoming a buyer or not becoming a buyer, we can determine how into this they are, right? So
the lead
I just made a note.
for you, like you can be like, you decide the number of stars. Yeah, right?
Yeah. Oh, this is a super hot lead. Bill's probably going to buy.
Cool.
Like, we're on 4 because he hasn't bought yet. I would say that's a 4. Customer, I would put that as a 5. Got this cool little tag thing here where we can set that up and say, this is a prospect, it's a customer. This is somebody who's uses this service that we do, or that service that we do, or interested in this service or that service. Because there's a bunch of different things that we can use that are more advanced tools, but we're not ready to get there yet. But so I just made a note, Bill's working on marketing summit, teach people how to make money online with us. So, I know what my relationship is with Bill, and I just set a task up to show Bill the CRM system tomorrow at 10 a.m. And then I'm going to have it send him a message. And it's going to say, hi, Bill, let me know when you have a minute to show you the CRM.
Nice.
Just so he gets it, right? And that would go to an email address. And obviously, I'm not going to give away Bill's email because he'd probably shoot me. So we'll say bill@madeupaddress.com, which nice. I'm sorry if somebody has that email address, if it's there somewhere. I apologize for the flood you're about to get.
No.
Don't kill me. But so this would go out to the email address. And, I'm pretty confident Bill's going to work with me. Just something tells me. So we're going to go ahead and give that
I'll send them a 5 just to stay safe.
We're going to go ahead and give that a 4. And then we're going to save it. So now that information just sort of disappears into your browser.
And maybe this is just kind of an obvious question. I'm going to put it out there anyway, but you're in the CRM and also just functioning on Facebook, right? Like, so I mean, like you can.
I'm just on Facebook and it just pops up over the top. The CRM is essentially a Chrome plugin, right? So it gets installed into Chrome. We'll get to it in a second, but there's a little icon right here to access some of the other stuff. It's called Super Suite Partners is the name.
Nice.
Super Suite Tools. So just so people can see exactly how quick this works, if I'm setting it up in real time, I'm also thinking Zane's probably going to work with me. Here, this is one of the reasons for the update, right?
I hear you.
Because this didn't pull info. But we're gonna Zane at somewhere.com and lead strength. He's probably going to work with me too. What are you doing? Marketing summit. Nope. I can't spell. Don't worry. They don't see that. That's on me. Finish showing CRM advanced features, right? Because we're looking at some of the stuff right now. So we're going to do that tomorrow. Let's say it's going to take me an hour with Bill. So I'm going to try and do that at 11 a.m. And I'm going to send you a message. Hey, a name. It'll insert your name there automatically. Want to check out that other stuff? All right. So now Zane's in.
Bingo.
All right. Yes. All right. So what good does this do me? Made notes, like disappears into the ether. Where in the hell do I find this stuff? So that's like the next step, right? That's why we want to track it. Here's where we get into the CRM. Pulls up a native window. You click it out. And then for now, ignore all of the other stuff behind the curtain, as they said in Oz. we're just going to go to the lead CRM. And as we can see, I've got a couple of things in here right now. So here's this total tree removal. There's Bill. There's Zane.
Look at that.
So you guys are in here with all your info, everything that we need to do. I've got meeting statuses all set up right here. I can assign you guys tags here if I want to, or now that I've gone through, I want to start sending messages or just want to touch base. I just start scrolling down, click the button. It's going to bring me to Bill's profile. And then I can hit the button. I can message him right from here.
Nice. Okay, so, it looks pretty seamless. That you can be on Facebook, not doing any work, and then with a click of a button, all of a sudden you're doing work.
Yeah, exactly. You go down that rabbit hole, watching everybody's story updates and looking at stupid memes, and then boom, opportunity.
Yeah.
Lead, add it, follow up with it, talk to them, whatever. So now, me and Bill talk. Sorry, I'm just gonna throw that away. That's random spam.
Business is business, man.
It's my brother-in-law, but that's random spam. So now I click that lead gen button again. Bill's already in the CRM, right?
Right.
So as you can see, all the stuff I entered for him already here. Well, we decided we're going to work together. So there's the lead. I can assign a new task priority. Boom, save. So now when I come back to my CRM, all the new stuff.
Yeah, all the new stuff
goes up, and as you can see, it popped Bill down the list.
So and you can switch back and forth between, I mean, obviously performing the action and then in the tool, but then also the whole point of gathering this information is to then review the actual reports. That's like once you've jumped over the hurdle of knowing what the CRM can actually do and then accepting that can take a while, but then it's another matter altogether of teaching yourself to actually use the tool consistently. Like I've seen a lot of CRMs demonstrated before, and they're great, but there's nothing like, it's just a set of features. I would have very much liked somebody to explain why I need to do it and the importance of it, because that would have made me just take action further. I don't think that's anything. I think that's just a common thing that most people think of, like, here's all the features that you want, but I want to take a moment and say, this is a shift in thinking and doing. And it's one of those things that I have learned from experience, that when you have to shift in a like thinking and doing something completely different, it can take a lot. It can move fast, but you have to understand that there are a lot of moving parts. You are telling yourself this is the thing you're going to do, and then you have to do the thing, but you have to tell yourself to do it also.
Well, and part of the problem with most CRM systems is they're large, they're cumbersome, they have a bunch of features that you're not ever going to use, in addition to the features that you want. And a lot of people don't ever end up using the CRM to its full advantage because they're cumbersome. Nobody ever gets the right training. And you have to shift completely away from how you're used to doing things, right? If you're organic marketing on Facebook, you're using right here in Facebook. On your system, you're messaging in Facebook, you're doing all that stuff, and that's it. This is where, if we installed a traditional CRM system, I'd go to a website, I'd log in somewhere, then I'd be popping back and forth between that website and Facebook. This is literally built right into the browser. Boom, click. Here I am. I've got other tools here. You'll explain why it doesn't go to the CRM page immediately in a minute. But boom, here's all the stuff that we're working on. So when I wake up in the morning, I want to touch base with people. The first thing I do, I pop my plain browser open, and I say, all right, what do I need to do today to follow up? You know what? I'm just going to start touching base with this guy. I'm going to touch base with Zane, touch base with Bill, see kind of where things are at. What's the next thing I need to do to move forward? Just, see how he's going. Zane didn't get a whole lot of sleep last night. Maybe I'll ping him real quick and be like, hey, how'd that thing work out for you? And the point is building relationships. Just like it takes work, but it's the same kind of work that you would expect. I mean, what friendship doesn't take some amount of work? If you're friends with somebody, there's work involved in maintaining that friendship and being a good friend, and not just being the jerk that never does anything when you're called, or be like, no, I'm busy. You know, it's like we're friends, but we haven't hung out in 2 years. You know,
Yeah,
there's work involved. So CRM is no different. It's not turn and burn anymore. It's build that relationship. So
exactly.
this helps you do that, keep track of things. And I find when people don't have a system to do that, things fall through the cracks. It's real easy to maintain the super hot leads where people are excited and they're paying you every day. Be like, you know, what's this next thing? Can I have some info on this? Like, you know, of course you're responding to those because they pop up in front of everything you're doing.
Right.
But what about the stuff that is not popping up?
Yeah, and it
It,
will, and
it,
that's the thing I know it sounds like a trivial thing, um, also kind of because it is, but it's just simple. Um, you can't fail if you don't quit, and I know that's I don't know that may sound a little oh there just keep working little entrepreneur, but it's true. If you show up and you do the work every day, then you get paid. But here's the thing. This is why again. I'm going to go on a little bit of a tangent here, but this is why I was like, hey, let's go ahead and do this. I'm having kind of a weird day trying to find the next place. Like I'm just staying at an Airbnb, and they haven't sent my money back, and so I'm just kind of twiddling my thumbs. But I know CRMs are so important. I was just like, whatever. I'm just going to pop over to this deli because COVID and stuff like that, and no one cares because no one cares. But like that's the only reason. It's so easy to just pop open the CRM. It's already on your browser. If you're already sort of on the move, this is a fantastic CRM. Like because like you were saying, Kallan, if you're already on Facebook and you're already trying to build those relationships because you want to be a good, effective entrepreneur that's just not a scuzz bucket that actually wants to build relationships. Hey, guess what? The stuff you're already doing on Facebook is business. If you add this CRM tool to it, you're going to start making money because the tool is going to help you focus on marketing a little bit more than when you're just messing around on Facebook. I mean, that's the best benefit of this
exactly.
thing is that you kind of fall into the rabbit hole, but when you have this tool, it's like, oh, no, come pull, go 3 more rabbit holes back and then turn left and then you'll be marketing, right? It's this little
Yeah.
reminder like, hey, you said you wanted to work today. So that's a good rabbit hole to go down, but maybe you turn right at Albuquerque and then you'll actually get to where Bugs Bunny wanted to go.
Right. And so instead of just scrolling randomly through your news feed and then coming across something that Bill had posted and going, oh yeah, I needed, me and Bill talked about this. I wonder, let me hit him up real quick. You now have a spot where that stuff is managed. And sure, like if you really want to, you could absolutely go ahead and, manage this stuff in a spreadsheet. Look, you can just download it straight to Excel.
There you go.
Boom. If you wanted to do that way, I don't know why you would, because, then you've got to maintain it in a few places. But
Right,
let's say you wanted to go put it in another system when somebody has purchased, and you just want to be able to copy and paste.
right.
So you have prospects in one system, buyers in something else. I mean, you can do that. Want to download it to a PDF? I've already done this twice, but look at this. Boom. It's a PDF. Here's all the info that I have on in the CRM right now. And obviously I'm using a freshly installed version just so we don't give away a whole bunch of data that everybody doesn't need.
Right.
It's really simple. Now, in case you happen to think that this is only going to help you organize things, this is not just a CRM system. Remember, I
Yeah.
told you that it helps with organic marketing.
But wait, there's more. Yeah, yeah.
All right. So I think everybody's heard by now one of the best ways to organic market is you find people that are similar minded or they're interested in the thing that you're selling or providing, and you go into those groups and you provide value, and you have a cover photo and you want people to friend request you, right?
Now, Kallan, if you could just touch on that a little bit, because when you were explaining it to me last night, you're like, oh yeah, everybody knows that, but I was like, actually, you said a couple of things that really kind of surprised me. Like, oh wow, that was really good. So, at least for my sake and the sake of recording, can you go into that just a little bit?
Sure. Okay, so let's say, for an example, a lot of the marketing community, we know ClickFunnels is big marketing community, right? So we're going to go into the ClickFunnels official group, and here we have the group. As you can see, there's 251,000 members interested in entrepreneurship. Do you think people that are interested in entrepreneurship might be interested in attending a summit about how to make money online?
Possibly. Yeah, I can start to see where you're going with this.
Okay. So we'll pop over to my other window here so you can see this was another project I'm working on, but once we get ready to start marketing our summit, my profile will make a transformation.
Nice.
But
I like your style, man. Like you have I appreciate your eye for marketing.
But I like to refer to it as outbound reach for inbound marketing, right? I want people reaching out to me. I don't want to be spammy and cold DM, but now if somebody's going to message me and ask about my products or my services or start a conversation, you've got permission, right?
Yeah.
Why would you say no to that?
Yeah.
I mean, what entrepreneur in the world is going to get messaged and be like, hey, tell me about that thing you sell? It's like, oh no, I can't do that. That would be spammy. Well, no, they've asked you. You have permission. Right? Permission-based marketing.
I will create that fake scenario just for a YouTube video. Just like, I'm sorry, no, that is too spammy for me. I will email you tomorrow. Thank you very much. Please be patient.
So I have my profile set up. One of the current things that I'm promoting is it's a coaching group for the One Funnel Away Challenge through ClickFunnels. So this is actually even a good example for this. But, what do you do when you get a random friend request? Right?
Well,
somebody sends you a friend request.
Like, who is this person?
You kind of go check out the profile and be like, who is this person? What are they about? It's like, oh, this is okay. I'm not sure what this is. So you're like, oh, am I taking the challenge? You know what? I am actually, or I've been thinking about it. Free group, get access to supplemental coaching videos to the entire challenge, help maximize the opportunity for success. That sounds interesting. Oh, there's a link.
Yeah, I like what you're doing here.
And I'm not going to load it because it's not. This is not a pitch for that. It's just the example. But here you can see this is optimized for people to find that. But I also do lead generation websites, and there's a special that I'm running. So here we have this, and then people can click in here to find out more about that. So then they're going to be like, you know what? This guy's doing a lot of marketing, right? Well, the money's in the follow-up, certified content marketing specialist. It's not all business. Looks like maybe takes trips sometimes. I'm gonna accept this guy, right? Yeah. So I get accepted, and then what? How would you go about advancing that relationship?
Right.
The answer is you're probably going to be like, hey, thanks for accepting the friend request, right? What if we automated that? Because outbound marketing or outbound reach for inbound marketing.
Because you don't have a whole lot of marketing material for one-on-one conversations, but you want to trigger that.
Right. So I'm not going to reach out and say, hey, thanks for accepting the friend request. Do you want to join my group? Would you like to buy Bitcoin? Have you thought about Forex? But
hello, new friend. This is my cash register. Would you like to buy stuff?
So I might, however, decide I want to send a message. So like, thank you for accepting my friend request, right? Or thank you for friend requesting me, or whatever my mode is at that point. Sometimes I may be the one wanting to friend request people, right? So I would change this, but thank you for accepting, and then insert the name in there so it's personalized. And then, maybe something to advance the conversation like, hey, how's your day? You start out with small talk, and then don't lead into a pitch.
Yeah, exactly. Like don't
absolutely don't. Like that's horrible. Like you don't make small talk just to get people to talk to you so that then you can lead them down the rabbit hole of pitching them. That's not the point of resource or relationship management, right?
Yes, that's
if you're trying to manage that relationship, you just put it right in the toilet and flushed it.
That's not a conversation. That's a kidnapping.
But we set that up, and the auto grader, once we're a friend, as soon as that friend request is approved on either side, that message gets shot to that person automatically. I don't have to do it.
Nice.
So if that message gets shot out at 1 o'clock in the morning because somebody just friend requested me, well, I mean, it's okay to contact them then, right? Because they're up and on Facebook because they've accepted.
Right.
If they weren't on Facebook and awake, they wouldn't have accepted. It'll send it out, and they may reply, may not reply, but chances are fairly good that they'll respond with something. And then you've now been messaged from inbound the next day, right? You wake up and you got a message that came in, and you're like, oh hey, so you're just having a conversation like back in the old days when you hit a chat room and you just see what's going on and just randomly start talking to people about anything, and
Yeah.
you get a
What's up?
random
ASL?
whisper message, and
Yeah.
right, exactly, and you find common ground, start talking, and then
Yeah.
one of the cool things that does though is by sending that message out in Messenger, if they read it, even if they don't respond, it prioritizes the content in your newsfeed to them on Facebook because Facebook thinks you're important to them.
That's interesting. Just bringing up the whole chat room thing. I think an actual like a good marketing exercise is like okay, it's not a good marketing exercise. It's a thought experiment to give you perspective. Okay, so before I send you down a rabbit hole, let me give you some context. It is not an exercise. It's just a thought experiment plus some like observation. So what I'm saying is that by doing that, going through that, like when you explain that, I was just like, oh, like as you explained the whole like architect, I was like, yeah, that's what we did over because as I entered the internet marketing space, I was like, cool, how do we do this? And then I saw exactly what you were talking about. Like you talk to some internet marketing gurus and you're like, wow, this is visceral. This is dynamic. Like this, like internet marketing people are geniuses because you're talking to just a certain one. And then you end up talking to another internet marketer and you're like, wait, what's going on? What happened? Because you just all you saw was the difference between one internet marketer who knew his business and another internet marketer who just didn't. But when you don't have any context, all of a sudden you go from, okay, these guys are gurus on a mountain to they're a bunch of scam artists because the person has absolutely no context whatsoever. But neither do any of the internet marketers because we're figuring this out as we go, right?
Let me illustrate this relationship point real quick, a little bit deeper with some hyperbole, right? You're in a chat room and you've found a chat room and there's internet marketing guru, the guy you've been following forever, or girl, not to be sexist. This guru you've been following for a long time, and you finally got your opportunity. You're in the same chat room as them, and you send them a whisper, and you start trying to have a conversation with them, just because you want 5 minutes of their time. You just want that conversation, right? Not even because you're not trying to pitch them. You look up to them. You just want to have that experience of saying, "Hey, I talked to this person," right? So you send them a message, and you're like, "Hey, what's going on?" And they respond with, "Not much, man. Are you interested in my $5,000 course?"
Right.
How do you feel? You feel like, wow, this person really only cares about selling their course. They don't care about me. They don't care about anybody who's actually bought. They just care about that.
I have been both of those people, unfortunately.
But then you message them and they just have a conversation with you like a normal person. You're like, oh, not much. I'm just out here talking with people. Killing a little bit of time between meetings or between speaking events or whatever. Or I'm on the road doing speaking and I'm just killing some time, in the hotel room, whatever. Which I guess was a little less prevalent back when, when chat rooms were a thing. But you get the point.
Well, we're kind of leaning back into the chat room things. Kind of, we've got groups and stuff like that, but only because of COVID, not because of technology.
Sure. But that's a whole different feeling, right? There's that connection that happens because, you're not being pitched, you're not pitching, you're just two people like having a relationship. It's like standing in line with somebody at the grocery store, right? standing in line, somebody cracks a joke, and then two people start having a random weird conversation just because they're in the same place doing the same thing and they have common ground. That's exactly what customer resource management should be, and why I call it relationship management, right? It's that awkward conversation in the grocery store line that eventually, hopefully, turns into a friendship and possibly a business relationship if the two of you, if there's a reason to work together, right?
Yeah.
Because you don't want to force it. If there is, there isn't. So auto greeter is the very first step in establishing that relationship. You got to talk to each other. I don't know how many people friend request, and they send me a friend request and I accept, and I never hear from them. They don't reach out to me. Like, their friend requested me. I don't feel like I should be the first person to say something. It's kind of weird. Whatever, you'd be like, hey, why'd your friend request me? Like,
yeah,
I don't want to be a jerk, but so where's that line? Well, auto greeter just like solves that whole thing. You just start a conversation. So you don't have to do that weird thing now, right? Because the CRM does that for you. So now they're replying to it because they were asked something, and now you feel like they initiated the weird thing, so it's not weird for you either.
Right. But you were telling me something specific about the auto greeter and the friend requester thing, because this is an automated tool. So like, what were you saying about the way that it stops itself from getting yourself banned by accident?
It has a delay built in that's not set to a static interval, but it every so often it goes through and it sends out your messages, and it tries to send them out in a way that doesn't mimic the behavior of a bot, because bots typically are like, they type out messages way faster than you possibly could. If you were to grab a paragraph and copy and paste it to 30 people and send it through a DM as fast as you could, you'd get banned, right? You get an immediate, we've detected something suspicious, don't do that. If you're unhappy with this, you can try to appeal, and then you lose the ability to message for like 7 days or 30 days or longer, depending on how many times you've done this, and over how long of a time. So that technique is bad, but people just sending you friend requests or in friend request connections don't happen like that, right? If I were to send out a batch of 10 friend requests, even to people I know, they would all respond in different times, different intervals. It's a very organic thing, right? So it doesn't mimic bot behavior. It's no different than you getting the notification, because the notification comes up when somebody accepts your friend request, or you get a notification when somebody sends you one. So if you sent a friend request and you said, oh, I accept, and then you send a message, and a couple minutes later you got a message popping out to them, that's organic. If somebody accepts your friend request, you get that notification, a couple minutes later you send a message out to them, well, that'd be a pretty normal behavior to reach out to somebody who accepted your request,
right,
to talk to them.
Yeah.
So all this does is this just automates organic behavior.
Right. Like, do you know what the Turing test is?
Yes.
Right. So like, I watched, I don't know if you're familiar with the TV show. It's called Numbers. It was kind of a nerd show. One of my favorite episodes is that they're trying to actually determine if somebody has built a computer that can actually be sentient. And really, spoiler alert, I'm going to go ahead and ruin the episode for you, so plug your ears. But really, all it did is it didn't prove that the machine was sentient. All it did was a machine that could disprove the Turing test. That's all it did. But that's all this is supposed to do. It's software to look like a human, so that the software that's on Facebook doesn't go, oh, you're a bot, you're banned.
Yes. Yep. It literally replicates the behavior that you would have in a very organic way, so you don't need to do it.
Which is why also we need to, I just want to come in here and say again that this is software meant to help you, as long as you're not one of those scuzzy people who are like, hey, I just want to sell you something or whatever. It's like, use these tools the right way and your business will grow. Use these for, like, lesser things, I guess. it,
Yeah,
it,
it's
it will suffer accordingly. In the
there's
broadest
no
sense, you know?
substitute for human interaction, right? We can automate
Exactly.
things. Some things just shouldn't be automated, right? I'm not going to go through and I wouldn't automate the messages that I'm sending to my prospects in the follow up as a regular message.
That's a
I
good
wouldn't
point.
go through and send the same thing to everybody because
Yeah.
my relationship with everyone's a little different. So a bot can't really replicate that properly. I mean, people try and it gets done. I'm not sure that I would advise that it was done.
Well, yeah, like you were saying with the like earlier, like the what was it? I think we had mentioned, maybe it was last night, that Ronco concept, the set and forget. Like,
Yep.
well, yeah, set and forget, but do you really want to forget about your meal that you're trying to cook? You should also have timers to be like, hey, set and then forget, but then also remember, because it's
Right. I
really
don't want my dinner
trendy
when it's cold.
yeah, it's really trendy to say, but then when you say set and forget and then just do that for every single process in your business, that seems like you have more problems with your personal life than your business.
So I guess the best way that I can describe this is, right, this tool is not made to be used without supervision, right? It's not something you just set up and you put it on autopilot and completely forget about it. Um, we Most of our planes fly where they're supposed to go on autopilot, right? They get pointed in the right direction.
Yeah, that's
They
true.
get a coordinate and the plane kind of navigates its way there, just sort of in general keeps its bearing.
But you
But
need
there's
like
still
that
a
last
pilot in the
bit.
cockpit.
Exactly. Yeah.
You still need the pilot to land. You still need the pilot to take off. You need to get cruising altitude. The pilot takes over on the descent. Like, this is literally, you do the work, you get it into a cruising space, and you let it do the cruising for the menial things that, I mean, it's not like you have so much air traffic that it's like driving in New York.
Right. Exactly.
Where you need to dodge cars and watch for cabbies. And no offense to any cabbies who may be there, but it's um, it's just, there's not all that congestion up there. So why does a pilot have to be stern on the wheel, like eyes fixed on the gauge, eyes fixed out of
Yeah.
the
Just,
window?
just staring at
I,
those
I mean,
clouds, being like, "Yeah,
you
man,
don't.
nothing's gonna hit me."
Very little of the flight actually happens based on visual, right? A lot of it's done on the instruments. They're relying on indicators to know what to do. This is no different. You're going to rely on indicators that are happening within the software, within the stages of where they're at, what people tell you in the relationship. Those indicators are what's going to steer your plane in for a landing, aka your product, into a sales relationship.
That's a very apt analogy. Like, and to just add on to that real quick, when the plane lands, call that customer service. That's where you're actually interacting. You're doing more of the like the important menial tasks, because now it's time to land the plane and do all that other kind of stuff.
Right.
But,
I mean,
but
this is,
that's you turning on your brain and saying, okay, this is human interaction. Go.
right. It's like I guess one would say that your relationship starts, but starts differently from the moment of the sale. It's not like when you land at your destination in the plane, they're like, "Thanks for flying Market Air, get out."
That's a very good
It's
point.
like, "Oh, thanks for flying Market Air. Welcome to the terminal. Check out these, check out some of these sites that you may want to see." You land in Vegas. There's slot machines immediately as you exit the
Yeah.
terminal
Now I want to
at
go
the
take a flight.
airport. Welcome to Las Vegas. Now it's the same relationship, but it's different. It's like, hey, we've been here a few times. Here's, check out these couple of places. We'll point you in the right way, and then when you're ready, come on back. We'll fly you home. Which is really where you should be with your product. Because if you're selling one product, anyway, I mean, you're missing the boat of leading people up to this and then not maintaining that relationship. That first purchase is the hardest anyway. Once you purchase something that works and it helps people from here going forward, why would they not come back to you for the next segment, right? How many people buy a one-way plane ticket? I mean, some people do if you're going somewhere permanently, but if you're flying to Las Vegas for the weekend, are you going to buy a one-way ticket and then figure out your ticket for the way home? No, you're probably flying that airline on the way back. You know what I mean? So I think think that airline analogy is going to stick around for a little while. That just sort of happened.
Yeah.
Um,
No, that was like, and now I want to like actually take a flight and observe all that and be like, Kallan taught me some stuff here.
and I'm sorry, everybody. The flights are going to be a while. Um, we're just not in that space right now, and I apologize for that reminder.
Oh
Um,
well. Wonk,
so,
wonk.
so the next thing is we we may want to go through and you know we could share some knowledge in this group about some things that we know that can help people along the way. It starts to demonstrate that we're an authority doing what we do, provide some value, and some people will identify themselves as people who maybe need help in that space, right? I do Facebook ads. Maybe I would put a post up here about, you know, let's find out who is struggling with their ads. What
Right.
problems are you experiencing?
So from your perspective, right? You're looking at this and you're not saying, hey, let's jump into a group. No, you're saying let's find a person who has a group that has the largest amount of my potential customers. Would that be a good way of buttoning that up?
Yeah, yep, it is, because you want to join targeted groups, right? You only have the bandwidth of being able to actually focus on so many things at a time. So if you're in like 10,000 groups and you're trying to balance them all, it's not going to happen. You're one person. But if you're in a couple of groups, you go for the larger groups that are not full of spam, not, some of those groups like where everybody's just cramming their link into every post they can find. But something
But
like this,
honestly,
where like,
do you like apart from the just mass SEO um, thought, like I mean, do you think those groups do any good?
not really, unless you're looking to waste money on opportunities, because
Yeah.
everybody's got an opportunity.
But
Uh,
it just screams of like you remember like uh, I don't know, you're approximately the same age. I was born in '82, right?
yeah,
So like so I feel like I've gotten old enough. I can say, hey, do you remember that old stuff, without somebody else being like, no, you're still young. So okay, like the old classified newspapers, right? And you look, or no, not even the classified newspapers, like the free magazine. And then people put ads in those free magazines, and it's like, why are you putting ads in those free, like like they work sometimes, and on a really broad scale you can do that and it works okay, but it just seems to be like I don't know, it just seems like there's somebody feeding this this fruitless beast that's not going to do anything, but it's everywhere, and I can't figure it out.
desperation.
Oh, okay.
I mean,
That was a much simpler way of putting it. Thank you.
I mean, really, that's my entire take. The Bitcoin people that message you and be like, "Hey, have you thought about investing Bitcoin? Or can I show you how to trade Forex? Just invest $1,000 with me. I'll guarantee you'll make money overnight." Well, one, they're doing that messaging technique because they don't know any better and they're desperate, right? They need this to work. They're probably in the same capacity as the people they're trying to get to jump on board with them, that
Right.
actually say, you know what, random person I don't know, let's give you $1,000 and hope you can do what you said you did, because they're desperate to hope it'll work. Hope is what drives it, right?
Okay.
Um,
See, yeah.
one of the most powerful forces in marketing is hope.
Okay.
Um,
Well, I think that's like every once in a while when I get that random message from a very large-breasted girl, I'll go out and interact with a whole bunch of women so that I can finally stop being that demographic where it's just like, hey, there is zero, like our CRM is basically showing us that you don't have a girlfriend. Maybe we should send you this crap. So when I see that, I'm like, oh, I'm fitting a certain demographic that I don't want to be in. So I go and do other activities just to make sure, and then they stop showing up. Thank you. Like, but to me, I think that's kind of well, to anybody who's in the seduction niche, just putting that out there. Maybe you should reconsider your approach when you send that ridiculous message of the big-breasted girl being like, "Hey, I might be interested in you, but I'm actually fake, so I can get you to buy this really desperate thing." No one wants that. Okay. But I have now revealed that I am in that demographic. So that's okay. I'm okay to reveal that because I also want to say, seriously, guys, really shitty. Could you not? It's just, I'm going to hop off my soapbox now, but it's just.
That's exactly the kind of marketing we want to avoid.
Thank you. Yeah, exactly. Like the same thing of like, hey, I'm going to drag you to my cash register, buy stuff, buy stuff, buy stuff. Like in that same sense, when somebody like me sees that message, what you're also saying is that I kind of think you're sad and pathetic. I don't think you can get a girlfriend because I think I can send this to you and then you'll buy my thing because you're so ashamed of the trick I pulled on you. And
Right.
that's, I mean, that makes me feel sick and makes me want to not be a marketer, which is also why I want to do content like this and be like, yeah, I'm even willing to take a black eye and say, don't do this kind of marketing because nobody likes it, especially the target market.
So, yeah, I agree with that. But the next step here is that, we could do our own post and wait for one of our posts to have some good reaction, and then we can scan that post and find the people that are in that post, and then have the post friend request them. Right? Some groups that's completely against the rules, so please follow the rules of the groups. Don't be one of those people. But as an example, here's a post about, hey, when you switch to the new Facebook UI, you're allowed a clickable link in your profile bio now. This is a perfect spot to put Facebook group link. Okay. So she does Facebook group growth. This is what her specialty is. So she's posted this in basically giving a quick tidbit of some value. She's not pitching anything. Nowhere is that pitch, but hey, she knows what she's doing. She's on the cutting edge of this thing. It's brand new, right? I just switched over to the UI. It's not even forced on everybody yet. Some people can't even switch. But look, we've got 16 comments on this.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, like when like you can see the people who are actually adding value. They're adding value when you can see how many people comment and like and share and that kind of stuff. And interestingly enough, you can actually find more valuable content you can share with other groups by engaging in this discussion even further.
Exactly. So if your niche is Facebook group growth, or like done for you Facebook growth, or anything like cover profile optimization or something that could make use of that, these people that have now liked, loved, messaged, all of that stuff on this post, they've revealed themselves as being interested in what you do.
Yeah,
right.
yeah. In a way, you could see like like you're saying, like it's not just that. You say, hey, there's that person, Marie. I can initiate a conversation with her, but I also have 16 other people that have also demonstrated, hey, cool, I can go grab their information and initiate conversations with them later on because I now have information about them that they have expressed interest to somebody else, but I can use that data and put it in my CRM and initiate conversations later on and do business in a way that people feel comfortable with.
Exactly. So now we move on from the auto grader to to the let me see, where did it go? Well, we have a couple of other options here, which actually I should probably do this first. Okay, so when you send a large amount of friend requests on Facebook, Facebook hates when you send friend requests to people you don't know, right? You don't have anything in common. You're not in a lot of the same groups. You haven't interacted before. They find it spammy, and especially if you send a large volume of them. One of the largest reasons that sending friend requests to people get your account suspended or temporarily halted is because of pending friend requests, right?
Yeah,
so
we were talking about this last night.
So we were talking, we looked at this post, and now we have all these people that we could send a friend request to and start a relationship with, right? Send a friend request, auto greeter will greet them when they accept, and we move on. So we've started that relationship cascade, right?
I like that relationship cascade because because I don't know, the number hasn't really changed. It's like what 15 to 18 times to connections to actually make a sale. But not all of those are like, hey, we're going to have a conversation. Sometimes it's just a notification, a nudge, something like that.
Yeah.
It's
Or hey, I found this cool thing I thought you might be interested in. I'm just going to share it to you. Right.
exactly. So
It doesn't have to be a full blown discussion.
yeah, not all
Just
discussions are graded equally.
little like, hey, I was thinking, or I saw this thing. It made me think of you. You do Facebook group growth. I saw this brand new thing. What's your opinion on it? And just solicit conversation in some capacity that's not asking people to buy stuff. But when you do that, you'll end up with a lot of people that won't accept your friend request inevitably, right? So
Yeah,
friend requests that are just hanging out there uncanceled or unaccepted, tip Facebook off that you could be a bot or you're engaging in some other type of spammy behavior. So it's important to go through and cancel those friend requests. Now, there's a manual way of going and doing it where you look them up and you individually click on every one by one, and cancel them, which if you mass
sounds
cancel,
like
like
so much
just
fun.
if you just slam down the buttons, Facebook's going to stop you there too because they don't like any repetitive action frequently, right? We talked about that. So you do 5 and you wait 20 minutes and you do another 5. It takes forever, right? Well, let's go cancel some of my pending friend requests.
Nice. So this, like you were saying before, it's
So here's a list
intermittent.
of some of the pending friend requests I have, and more load is necessary if there are more. But I just did a bunch of this the other night, so I haven't quite gotten through all of them. But okay, so as you can see, this one just turned blue, went to add friend instead of cancel. That friend request is now canceled. I didn't do anything. I just clicked the button. Now we can just sit here. As long as this is open and this is open, we can be on Facebook. We can go to Google. We can check our email. We can have conversations with people as long as we don't leave this window. Oh, there's another one. That one just canceled, right? It's not slamming them, but it
Right.
random intervals.
So
it mimics organic behavior.
It's again, we just say, mimicking like a like a person, not to look like a bot, but it's doing it's using your account for the purposes that you want without getting your account in trouble.
Yes. So now there's another feature that I want to get into, but I don't have time to talk about it right now because I've actually got to go head out and pick up the kids. But it's called Friend Seeker.
Oh, okay. So is this going to be like a cliffhanger? Like, give us more.
Well, I hate to be that guy.
But here we are. Okay.
But it's a way of helping to automate some of the process that I just showed you of sending the friend request to people who are interested in potentially doing what you do. But there's a whole technique around using it that not only lets you send the friend request, but also helps amplify the possibility of somebody actually being interested in that thing, right? Somebody that amplifies the possibility of reducing the amount of time that you need to nurture that relationship before they're ready to talk to you. And in some cases, you'll send that friend request, they accept, and before AutoGreeter can even send the message, they're asking you about that thing, which is the reason that you friend requested.
Yeah, like, I mean, that's when your marketing system is seeing some improvement.
So it is, oh, look at that. Look at most of these are already canceled already, and we just sat here talking. Like I didn't actually have to do it. So I'm gonna leave this here, and I'm gonna give you a little preview, right? So groups scanning, add queues, clearing, but you notice there's nothing here to use for it.
Yeah.
You guys are gonna have to wait until the next time we sit down and talk to find out how this works. But it's worth it anyway.
And that was the point, right? That was the point of this, is to demonstrate, this is the benefit, but also like the need for this kind of content and the tool and those kinds of things that like, despite some of the plans that we had today, we're like, no, we need to do this. And we also want to basically say that there's more, because there is more, because you want more, we want more. So we're just going to provide more. It's just going to happen later because life is life.
All right. So at the risk of like, I've really already spent more time than I should have. Um, at the risk of thickening this too far and getting a whole bunch of hate messages from people. Um, as simple as you've seen the rest of the CRM work so far, right? And I think we can both agree it's like super integrated, very easy to use, and like takes these hard manual things and just like literally it just makes them nothing. It just sort of does it like a VA, right? This next function of friend requesting is just as potent, just as easy, and probably one of the most powerful automation features that are in the entire tool set.
Okay, but now I want to hear about it because you were like, because we've just talked about features and stuff like that, but you've actually shown me like, no, ABC, I made money. ABC, I made money, and I'm like, but I want to hear about that part because now I know about it. Now I want the cheese. You know?
That part's coming, but see, the whole problem is the reason I haven't shown you exactly how it leads to money yet is because in order to have things lead to money, you need pieces to click into place, and you need the system to be set up, running, and work smoothly, right? And it works hand in hand with the relationship and resource management portion of the software, along with the tools portion. But what the heck? I'm gonna take 2 seconds. I'm gonna show you a little extra thing. It doesn't just work for Facebook.
And the heavens opens, and we rejoice.
But so just to show you that this can work other places too. If I spelled that right, we're gonna start the Instagram auto liker.
Oh yes, okay. I'm so glad that you're.
This just popped up on my Instagram account, and it's gone to the feed for the hashtag that I just typed in, and it's now going to go through and it's going to start pulling photos and liking the photos to get attention to the profile.
Okay, that's
because
good.
You know who doesn't get a love or a like on their profile, then go check out who visited. Oh, here we go. It's gonna go ahead and like that thing from Elon and put it away, and then it'll just continue on as long as you leave it open. I'm gonna stop that right now because I'm gonna take off, and I don't want all that engagement coming in while I'm trying to drive, because that's a really bad time to be. Don't market and drive, folks.
Do not.
Although you can, when things are on autopilot, you can be sleeping and market, and you can drive and market. You can eat and market, you go out with the family, and sometimes these things lead to literally sales coming in when the whole system is set up, doing nothing. But it really relies on very, very heavily on the most heavily influenced part of Friend Seeker, which I'm not showing you today.
I have used a similar tool to this, more of a YouTube thing, right? And I have had this happen to me. Like when you say don't automate or don't engage and drive, like it is such a smart thing to say, because I've done the same thing where I turned it on and then I left and then didn't realize what I was doing, and then my phone's blowing up as I'm trying to drive, and I'm like, oh wait, no, and I realized that because I set it up and then walked out the door, not thinking about what I was handing myself.
Yeah. So yeah. You can make enough money without having to engage people while you're driving. You don't want to spend it all in fees getting pulled over or medical bills because you've gotten in a car accident, or property damage bills because you've taken out a couple of mailboxes or hit a parked car, or something else really stupid that you'll have to explain later on social media. But not to just pop out of here real quick, but I'm really going to run to I'm not even going to exit the meeting, so I'm just going to see you guys later.
See you.